बसंत भाई ठीक अच्छे आपनकर बैकग्राउंड ठीक आसु हां
ମୋ କଥା ଶୁଭୁଛି?
हां हां सुबुच आपन कथा ठीक अच्छे
କିନ୍ତୁ ତମେ ଅନ୍ କଲା ବେଳକୁ ଇକୋ ହଉଛି କାହିଁକି?
ନାଇଁ ନା ପାଖରେ ନିହାତି ହିଁ ଅଛନ୍ତି ତ ଇକୋ ଆସୁଛି ସେ
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ଦିଟା ଅନ ଅଛି ତ ସେ ମାନେ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ବନ୍ଦ कर
ଠିକ ଅଛି ଠିକ ଅଛି।
କୋଷ୍ଟ ଅଛନ୍ତି ବସନ୍ତ ଭାଇ
Vikas,
ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୟାମେରା ଲଗେଇଲ ବୋଲି ଓ ଆଚ୍ଛା ଏବେ ତ କ୍ଲାରିଟି ଆସିଛି ପୁରା କ୍ୟାମେରାରେ
ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଫଟୋଟା ସାର୍ କ୍ଲାରିଟି ଆସୁଛି ପଛର ବ୍ୟାନର ଛଡା କିଛି ଆସିବା କଥା ନୁହେଁ ସେ ବ୍ୟାନରଟା କିଛି କିଛି ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି କିଛି ଦେଖାଯାଉନି
ଖାଲି ଓଡ଼ିଶା ବିକାଶ କନକ୍ଲେଭ କହିଲନି ଏତେ ଫଟୋ ଫଟୋ କାହିଁ ଦେଖୁଛ ଖାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ବିକାଶ କନକ୍ଲେଭ ଲ୍ୟାପଟପଟା ମୋର ଟିକେ କ୍ଲାରିଟି ବେଟର ଥାଏ ଭଲ ହେଇଛି କ୍ୟାମେରା ହେଲେ ତ ଏଇଟା ବେଟର ହେଲା ଠିକ ଅଛି ଆଉ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ଲ୍ୟାପଟପ ମୁଁ ଶେଷରେ ଆଣିକି ଆସିଥିଲି ଅଲ୍ ସେଟ୍ ବସନ୍ତ ତମେ ଖାଲି ମନେ ରଖିଥାଅ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ରିପୋର୍ଟରେ ଯେତେ ଲୋକ ଅଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଦବ ତମେ ଭୋଟ ଅଫ୍ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ୍ସ ଦବ ନା ମୁଁ ତମକୁ ଇନଭାଇଟ୍ କରିବି ତମେ କଣ୍ଡକ୍ଟ କରୁଛ ନା କଣ
Tejan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. अब थोड़ा screen ऊपर कर.
Everything is fine?
Everything is fine. We are not able to see your full face.
Wait a second. Just 1 second. I have to take my wife's help.
Perfect.
She does more webinar more frequently. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. थोड़ा light भी कर दीजिए कमरे का. हाँ, right. Thank
Make a
you.
light.
Then you have to face this way.
Jagdanand ji, I had sent you a PowerPoint presentation. Did you get it?
No. I think I have not looked at it.
Last
Anyway,
night, I sent you a PPT.
No, I think.
Jagdanand ji.
Yes.
Can somebody operate? I will.
Okay, I will
You
ask
ask somebody to operate.
1 moment.
Jagdanand?
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Sir. Sir, we are all ready.
Hold कर दो तो. बस, चल रहा है. चलो देखो.
मुनि राजन को पठेदव लिंक टा आउ थरे
Good morning, Namaskar. So on behalf of Odisha Development Initiative, I welcome you all to this third edition of Odisha Vikas Conclave 2020. People not only across 30 districts in Odisha and outside Odisha also who are keeping interest on Odisha's development are part of this conclave. Thank you all so much again. So we have been organizing Odisha Development Conclave since 2016. First was organized in 16, second was organized in 18, and the third is being organized today, 2020. So on this occasion, we will also releasing the Odisha Development Report, a unique initiative on behalf of Odisha Development Initiative today. So this event, you all know, you have been part of this journey. This event is a unique event with the culmination of all stakeholders in development, government, all the policy-making bodies, civil society organizations, community-based organizations, government departments, PRIs, citizen leaders, thought leaders, and community leaders also. All are part of this event, and the main objective of this event is, with the objective we are celebrating this event to identify the grassroots development agenda and to communicate appropriately to the policy regime and to take a collective action, including the civil society organizations, corporate world, CSR, and government. So when these three agents of development can join hands together on the common cause of Odisha, Odisha's development will go ahead. That's the objective of this event. So before going to the first session of the event today, and it is my pleasure also to say you that the third edition of Odisha Vikas Conclave 2020 begins today. Today is the beginning day, and will continue also in another 2 months to host discussion around many issues. So I will just highlight some rules of the these online meetings. We all are very familiar to the virtual meetings nowadays, and during this pandemic we are more familiar even. So I would request all our delegates who are joining here, so if you have any suggestion, any thought, any reflection, you can put in your chat. We will appropriately navigate those to our honorable speakers to respond. And also you can put your questions in the question answer section, which is in the bottom line of this virtual platform. So with this, I welcome you again to this event, Odisha Vikas Conclave 2020. So before the session, let us watch a short film on the journey of Odisha Development Initiative and Odisha Vikas Conclave. I would request Niladri, please run the video.
Odisha is a wonderful state. We have a very big natural resources, from minerals to metals to forest and natural beauties, with a beautiful stretch of coastline. The people are great. From Adi population, that is tribals, we have all forms, all kinds of people with a huge cultural background and a great heritage with architecture and temples and monuments. But the state also is not free of problems. It is still one of the few states across the country which is considered as an aspirational state, but poverty, underdevelopment is still experienced in remote areas and the tribal hinterland. So this requires a multi-stakeholder approach to deal with the problems. And Odisha Development Initiative is one such attempt in which all players, civil society, government, corporate sector, civil society organizations, NGOs, voluntary organizations, community-based organizations, people's organizations. They come together to identify the root causes of the problem and also suggest and articulate the answer to deal with the problem. And in Odisha Development Initiative, through the Odisha Development Conclave, which we had 2 editions so far, 2016 and 2018, we have tried to really get the people from tribal hinterland of Odisha to the coastlines, from Kendrapada to Sundargarh, from Malkankiri to Mayurbhanj, to come together and discuss with the policy makers what can be done and how each stakeholder can take a major chunk of responsibility to make the state prosperous and progressive. The event was blessed by Vice Chair Niti Aayog and the whole plethora of officers from Niti Aayog who wanted to really understand the grassroots reality. The discussion and the outcome of the conversation was recorded, was presented to the government. Some of them have been taken to logical conclusion, some of them are not. And the role of civil society is always to remind all stakeholders that in a journey of dealing with ordinary people's problems, their vulnerabilities and the causes of poverty and underdevelopment, it is always required that all potential actors must come together actually. There has to be collaboration, there has to be cooperation, there has to be partnership between all of them. And to reiterate this, 2018 also the Odisha Vikas Conclave was done on a similar pattern, but this time more thematic areas were picked up because people were desperate to articulate their problems, to ventilate their suggestions, to paint their dreams and aspirations before policymakers, before civil society who can take grassroots action. And 20, we are trying to take a stock of what has happened, what has not happened. COVID-19 pandemic has opened a new window, new problem and new possibilities. So in the post-COVID-19 situation, what should be the Odisha development strategy? We are just laying a foundation on 23rd, but the agenda cannot be set in a day-long conversation. It has to be a year-long affair. There has to be willingness between all players to come together, listen to each other, trust each other, and respect each other so that we can together deal with the problem of Odisha.
Thank you. Let me introduce the whole agenda of the day today before coming to the inaugural session. So the present session in which we all are is the inaugural session in which the Odisha Development Report will be released, and also we'll have we have eminent speakers who will deliberate on various issues and on the report. And this session will be a 1 hour session. After that, we have 3 parallel sessions. So after that, we have 3 parallel sessions. One session on natural farming, how to scale it up in Odisha. Second session is school education, recovery from COVID pandemic. And the third session is on migration, changing the broad contours from distress migration to safe migration. All these 3 tracks parallelly will be conducted between 11:45 to 1:15. You all have been given links, different links to different tracks. When this session will end, all you can please go to your tracks as per your choice using the link given in your mail. And in the afternoon, we have a session which will deal on impact of COVID pandemic on women and girls. This is between 3 to 5 p.m. And in the evening session, we have organized a very good interactive session with eminent personalities on the civil society actors' journey and what would be their new role in the current context of Odisha's development. So this is the whole day's business, and you all can, I request all of you to please join all the sessions as you have also given your choice using the appropriate links. With this, I welcome you all again to the inaugural session, and I would request Jagdananji, the convener of Odisha Development Initiative, to take this session forward. Jagdan sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Basant. And let me extend a personal welcome to at least 3 distinguished panelists who are present this morning. Professor Radhamohan, our guru and a great environmentalist and recipient of Padma Shri Award of last year. You know, he's the founder of Sambhav, a grassroots level initiative for sustainable development and gender justice. And Sambhav has created something which is unbelievable, actually, and that is Sambhav. So, and we are meeting the founder of Sambhav, and he has been associated with the civil society over a long time, and he was conferred with the Global Roll of Honors for his distinguished work on environmental. And you know, Government of Odisha also has conferred the highest civilian award, Utkal Seva Samman, for his dedicated public service, and that is Professor Radhamohan, our guru and environmentalist, and our mentor to many civil society leaders. Simultaneously, we have Professor Amitabh Kundu, who is currently a distinguished fellow at the Research and Information System for Developing Countries, the think tank of the Ministry of External Affairs of Government of India. But Professor Kundu is not just merely at the RIS system, but he's a veteran social scientist known for his work both within the country and globally. He's chairing the committee which is overseeing the survey of Swachh Bharat mission. He was regional advisor on poverty. He was consultant to government of Sri Lanka. Until January 2014, he was professor at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has served as the member of the National Statistical Commission. During 8, he has been the chairman of the Post-Sachar Evaluation Committee to look at the minority issues set up by the Ministry of Minority Affairs. And, and now the editor of the Odisha Development Report, and so welcome Professor Amitabh Kundu. Then we have a very distinguished, very sympathetic, sensitive, senior civil servant, Srimati Ranjana Chopra, a senior officer of Odisha cadre, currently working as the Principal Secretary, Department of Scheduled Tribe, Scheduled Caste Development, Government of Odisha. In Odisha, she has served in various capacities, including heading our training institute, the Apex Training Institute run by the General Administration Department, the Gopabandhu Academy of Administration. She had served as the Principal Secretary, Department of Cooperation, Department of School Mass Education, and then she has also served in a very important capacity at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie. She has pursued a course on health management at the London School of Economics and Political Science, and a very sensitive, what you call bureaucrat of our time, your time, and that is Ranjana Chopra. So with these 3 brilliant panelists, let me also welcome all the members of the Odisha Development Initiative who has been part of this journey. Some of you are able to see, some of you are not able to see because, the number is swelling actually. And so far, about 135 people have joined, and the number is going on. And I'm sure by the time we finish this session, there will be more than 300 at least who has shown interest to be part of this gathering. So without much ado, what are we going to do actually? As I have said in the short video, in the Odisha Development Initiative, we are trying to bring multiple stakeholders together so that we are able to work together in reaching the most difficult pockets and in also accomplishing our goals. So in these, and then the last 2 ones, we have demonstrated that, And the current one, because of the pandemic, we have a great limitation. So therefore, this is a short version of the Odisha Vikas Conclave, in which we are not able to bring people from the ground, but we are able to, at least bring some of you who are here. So I think now I will request Professor Amitabh Kundu, the Distinguished Fellow, Research and Information System for Developing Countries, Delhi, and our mentor and Chief Editor of the Odisha Development Report 2020, to share his thoughts and his insights about Odisha's development and the priorities which we should work on. Over to Professor Amitabh Kundu.
Thank you. Dr. Jagadananda, Professor Radha Mohan, Ms. Ranjana Chopra ji, colleagues and friends. Jagadananda ji, somebody will operate the PowerPoint. It's honor and privilege for me to associate with the Odisha Vikas Conclave, the third in a row, organized by Odisha Development Initiative. A colleague of mine in Delhi asked me that you are cancelling an international webinar for release of a state development report. Aren't you unduly excited about it? Indeed, I'm very much excited. I've edited National Social Development Report, guided preparation of several state-level reports, but Odisha report is very special. This is not just because of my old family connections or my network of students and friends. I must tell you, the largest number of students who got their PhD with me at JNU are from Odisha. The report is special because it is not produced by an international agency or a state government department or a university or a research institution, because it is their job to do that. This report is produced by a civil society organization at its initiative, Center for Youth and Social Development being at the helm of it. It's an organization which is striving to promote development and alleviate the deprivation of the vulnerable sections of the population in the state, working both at grassroots level and also the policy level. I'm really privileged to associate with this initiative. The report proposes strategic interventions backed up by research, authored largely by researchers, activists, visionaries mostly from the state of Odisha, but working in all over the country and for global institutions. Can we have the first slide, please? While an attempt has been made here in this report to base the arguments on hard, secondary, and primary data, the key concern has been to put the issues for the policymakers and public officials at different levels of governance, who often have healthy disrespect for micro-level details. Also, and I think it's a good thing that the policymakers would really like to have the recommendations which can be easily implementable or are not of serious academic type. Also, the volume is expected to provide a framework for designing activities by civil society organizations to make Odisha a vibrant and inclusive society, is addressing the needs of the vulnerable sections of the population. The papers that have been written, that are included in the volume, are in the interface of research and field action. These have the smell of the earth, but at the same time, not stuck in the peculiarity of a particular situation. I'm grateful to Dr. Jagadananda for envisioning the volume and requesting me to associate with it. Let me begin with an anecdote. Walking through the mysterious surroundings in the Wonderland, Alice discovers a potion on a table and drinks it. This makes her very tall, very, very tall. the distance between her head and the feet becomes enormous. She's worried. Would I be able to take care of my feet, which are so far away from me? Look at her concern. However, the more serious concern is, would my feet follow my command? Would they walk the way I would like them to? She therefore decides, please go to the next slide. She therefore decides, I will give them a new pair of shoes every Christmas to keep them happy and obedient. The imagery created by Lewis Carroll in his fantasy novel should draw attention of planners and policymakers in India to problems of miscommunication and lack of coordination and compliance, often existing between the core and the periphery, separated by long distances, resulting in alarming regional disparity. The relationship between the federal government and the state government would not be that of sending annual gifts, but much more symbiotic, much more interactive, feeding one into the other's information. And that is the kind of perspective which has been envisaged in the Constitution of India. Regional disparity, however, cannot be explained. The lack of development in the state of Odisha cannot be explained in terms of geographical distance. Historical, political, and social factors have played a critical role in exacerbating this. How else do we explain the enormous socio-economic deprivation of the state of Odisha, which sits on rich mineral resources, lies close to the heartland of the country with excellent possibilities of rail, road, shipping, transport with north-south transports corridors passing through it. India inherited an extremely uneven regional structure from the colonial period, Odisha being one of the most backward states in the country. Despite the well-orchestrated intervention by Finance Commission, Planning Commission, and other institutions, Odisha remained a low recipient of federal transfers and, more importantly, of corporate investment. Not only low level of economic development, even the rate of progress since independence has been a matter of policy concern. Happily, the scenario is changing during the past 1.5 decades. One can clearly see that Odisha has recorded an impressive rate of economic growth and is at the verge of emerging out of the quagmire of backwardness. And yet, investment in infrastructure in the less developed regions in Odisha and in their most backward tribal pockets has been sluggish for ushering in a new era of inclusive development. Different chapters have noted in this volume the significant spatial inequality and the distribution of economic activities within the state of Odisha. Authors in different chapters, this PPT can stop here. Authors in different chapters have identified women, tribals, and the migrant population as the communities that are most vulnerable. The papers have drawn attention to the inadequacies in the system of governance and faulty designing and implementation of the policies and programs at the state and central level. However, there is a sense of optimism expressed in the context of the recent trends of growth and assessment of physical and structural possibilities. The report argues that there is no reason why the state cannot be in the forefront of socio-economic growth in the country in the coming decades. A few words about the impact of COVID-19 that was mentioned by Mr. Jagadanand. The humanity would get over the corona pandemic, hopefully in a few months, or may come to live with it given the new mutations that are emerging as reported in UK. But the post-COVID-19 world will be different from what has been predicted by visionaries. And so will be India and the state of Odisha. One can therefore ask the question that how the sectoral and spatial priorities and the development trajectories in the state that have been identified in the volume on the basis of the recent past data, how that past experience would be useful for designing the strategies of the future. Even the cyclone Amphan has left its footprints on the morphology of the state and its future course of development. It has been argued in the volume that although the vulnerabilities came on the surface because of the COVID-19, the vulnerabilities and the structural deficiencies existed in the system, and it is impossible to design the strategies for future without taking note of the structural factors which have been identified by different authors in the volume. The corona and the Amphan has created a few unanticipated problems, but basically they have exacerbated the existing one, apparent or hidden in the system. The volume takes note of these in designing the roadmap for future development. The task of rebuilding the economy of Odisha in the post-COVID period can't be done without examining the significant deficits in different sectors and their underlying factors as presented in the report. Amidst several deficits in many areas, the one that will make the country hold its head in shame is the way the migrants, particularly the interstate migrants, have been treated during the period of the lockdown. Thousands of people with women and children walking on the roads, headloads, railway tracks, squeezing in crowded buses and trucks will haunt Indian memories for decades. We must discuss, independent of central and state politics, whether this was preventable. The case of Odisha would be significant in this discussion, despite its share in the total outmigrants not being very high. This is a very important point, that Odisha, although it figures as an outmigrating state, the rate of outmigration is not very high compared to other backward states. Its Odisha's share in the total interstate outmigrants in India is less than its share in population. This is quite different from the case of Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, whose share in outmigrants exceed that of the population by a significant margin. The outmigrants per 1,000 immigrants in Bihar would be much larger, 3-4 times. In Uttar Pradesh also, the outmigrants are 3-4 times, whereas the outmigrants in Odisha is slightly less than that of the in-migrant. And yet, the scenes of Odisha migrants desperately trying to reach their homes disturb their national consciousness due to misery they suffered in the process. This is due to their lack of affordability of better modes of transport